Welcome back to the channel, guys.
Alright, today is another discussion day and I hope you're finding these discussions very beneficial. We've been talking about building on a budget. And if you are building on a budget, cost control is very important.
Yes.
So today we are looking at
3 tips on how to
build on a budget while controlling costs.
Correct.
So 3 cost control tips while building on a budget. He or she is about to start building and they have a cousin who is a builder, so they want to use the cousin to just get the work going. What is the first tip? What's the first advice that you would give to somebody who wants to build on a budget?
Well, the first thing I would tell them is to get a number of quotations.
So hold on, don't just get the cousin from up the road who can just come and get the work done.
Well, even if they are a part of the process or they as well will be quoting on it, but have a number of quotations that you can compare prices. So you can compare your cousin with somebody else to see who is more reasonable.
Alright, so tip number 1, we're going to get how many? At least 3 or so?
3 or 4.
3 or 4 quotation. How does this work though? The whole process of getting in the quotation. What do I do? Just ask them how much you think to build it?
Well, what I would say then, you need to have your quantity survey. I mean, we spoke about quantity survey and preparing a bill of quantities in a previous video. So you need to have your quantity survey and prepare the bill of quantities, a blank one.
Hold on. I just want you to give me a quick 10 second. Just a little revision, a little explanation of what the bill of quantities is.
Alright, so the bill of quantities is a document that breaks down the scope or the project in different elements. For example, your foundations, your walls, your finishes, say your tiling,
got it.
painting, and so on.
So this document that the quantity surveyor had prepared before with the breakout of costs, I'm going to go back for the document now.
Yes.
And when I get the document, when I say a blank one, what do you mean by that?
So your quantity surveyor may have given you an estimate of costs. It's where the quantity surveyor would have priced the bill of quantities.
So the estimate for the foundation would be there, estimate on different parts?
Yes, but the quantity surveyor would have done that for you. Now, when we say a blank bill of quantities, what we're saying is remove those costs that the quantity surveyor would have put in, and that blank document with no cost in it, give that document to your builder or your contractor for them to price that document.
So you said that it's blank on the basis that there is no cost there.
Correct.
So we have the items that we want to be covered in terms of the material and the labor for the different phases of the project.
Well, seeing that we might be looking at a builder relationship. Remember when we described this relationship, we said that the builder relationship is one where the client or you as the person who needs to get the job done would be procuring or buying your own materials.
So what? You are talking specifically about the builder arrangements with a builder relationship.
Yes, because we're looking at building on a budget and we have to look at ways we can save.
Okay.
So this is one way we can save.
So if I want to select a builder, then I get a bill of quantity that you would have prepared already, and the items are there, but there is no cost. I would give this to how many builders?
Maybe 3 or 4.
3 or 4 builders and have them fill in their costs. And I think it's important that we don't just ask them for their costs, but use the bill of quantities to guide us, because you wouldn't want a case where when you think the price that the person gives to you, the scope is probably lesser than what you think.
Well, yes, let me explain what that means. And I'm going to use a dining table to explain it. Let's say we ask somebody to price a dining table, right? Now, one person may price a dining table to just build the dining table. But didn't include painting the dining table or staining the dining table, while another person may price and include both building and staining the dining table. Now, when we pick up those two documents, we may say the one that is most reasonable is the one that is cheaper, not knowing that the scope is different for the two of them. Now, this is why the Bill of Quantities is important.
Establish the scope.
Because the quantity surveyor would establish the complete scope. And when we say complete scope, let's not just think about the complete house, because we're probably not building the entire house right now. So the complete scope might mean, let's say, completing the room without tiles. No tiles in the room. So the scope right now is completing the room without tiling.
So the scope is the task that is to be done. The project that we're working on.
Yes.
And you now will break it out to make sure that it is standard for all the persons who are going to be providing quotations. And have them prices. And I take that now and I look and I can select the one that I prefer.
Correct.
So if I'm not using a builder, could I do the very same thing with a contractor to select an appropriate one?
You would do the same exact thing, because the difference would be that, remember now when we spoke about the contractor, we said that he would provide an all-in cost. So his cost would include materials and labor, as well as his supervision and his money.
Alright, so we get that. So we have the blank BQ, send it out to about 3 or so builders and have them put in the price in the document, and then we can select. What about material? How do I know the amount of material that I'm going to need to do my project so I can know how to fund it?
Well, again, you might want to just see the guidance, say a quantity surveyor to help you with this. He can give you a material list. This will tell you how much blocks you need, how much steel you need, how much, and all of this. And you can shop around with your material list. So you may need to do that, as you know, you may need to
we're building on a budget.
So a number of different hardwares, and you may even need to negotiate like discounts. So you say to the hardware, listen, I'm gonna buy 2,000 block from you, give me a discount, and you get it, stuff like that you can do to kind of save.
So shopping around is key, and that's what I'm getting.
It is key. But just to go back to the materials list, so the quantity surveyor can help you with that, as well as you may want to liaise with your builder, and he can also.
So you're sure the builder now maybe buy more than what we need?
Well, if you have a competent person, he will let you know exactly what you need, and you can.
So cost control tip number 1. I am going to get my blank BQ and I'm going to get quotations. Don't just run ahead with the first person who is willing. Get the quotations and do the comparison. And I'm assuming that based on the quotation that the person had provided, you would use that as the basis to do the contract.
Yes, so that quotation, because the cost is a big element in any type of contract. So that would be the basis of where you farm.
So we understand.
So we have an agreement as to what the cost is to do this scope of work.
Get that. So number 1, I get my quotes and I select the one that suits me best. Having selected my quote now, what do I need to do next?
Well, because again we are building on a budget, we have to build as our cash flow dictates. So we have to, as it says, you save up a portion of money. Let's say you have a $200,000 or $300,000 right now. You decide and say, all right, so this $300,000 should be able to paint out the room, tile out the room, and do something.
So, all right. So basically, I am going to be using the availability of cash to determine the amount of work that's done and the timing of the work.
Correct.
So we now put nobody on work before we can pay them.
Correct.
We now go start the work and can't afford to get the material to get that phase of the work done. So even within a small project, I still will have to do it on a phase basis based on the availability of funds. Alright, we don't want any conflict to start.
And remember now, if we are trying to build on a budget, let's try and do it debt free. Because that's probably whole another discussion for another video.
I think we want to leave that part for a little while. But I understand.
You're trying to budget for the expansion, trying to budget for the bid, trying to budget for the scope or this particular scope. It may be as small as just painting. I mean, it's still adding or expanding to your already started project.
And even if we're gonna be painting the entire interior of the building, but we don't have the funding as yet to do that, the entire scope, do it according to how
the cash flow.
Don't want nobody to wait for them pay.
Yeah.
Can't get it.
And it brings you back to the point where you say, you remember now some of these contractors will go ahead and do more than you can afford. So you have to kind of manage them as well, and ensure that they know that this is the scope.
So scope and cash flow should work together.
Correct.
So one after we go out and we get the quote and we select, we ensure that we are phasing in even that part of the project according to cash flow, and then I'm assuming that the third thing would be to ensure that we are monitoring as we go along. How do we do that monitoring?
Alright, so again, your bill of quantities is a guide or the guide to managing. In fact, the bill of quantities is your budget.
Okay.
Because this really tells you what that scope of work should cost, and this forms the agreement between you and your builder. So the bill of quantities is what you would use to monitor if you are under budget, on budget, or over budget.
So on the everyday now, I'm going to the everyday monitoring. What about my receipts? Do I need to ensure that I collect those receipts? So if this is what I have in my BQ for materials, then I need to collect my receipts to ensure that the cost that I'm spending for material is in keeping with what I have there in the bill of quantities.
Well, definitely. You have to collect a receipt and collect the receipt. So if you are going to do the foundations, you have to collect the receipt for the materials that you buy to see if it's adding up back to the cost for the foundations in the bill of quantities. But not just the receipt for the materials, but also your builder should be able to give you a receipt or while the project is going on. However, maybe it's every fortnight, because that's how the construction cycle really works. So probably every fortnight your builder gives you a receipt, which with your material should be, you match it back with your bill of quantities, and you should be within the budget or on budget or over budget.
As I talk about the receipt from the builder, I want to clarify something here, because sometimes, let's say we've agreed to build a particular portion for an agreed amount, let's say 500,000 to the portion, but you're not paying the 500,000 all at once. You need to monitor those sub-payments to ensure that both the builder and you are on the same page. You don't want them to think that they have received less than they have already gotten. Yes. So those receipts need to be available. Have the dialogue, say, okay, we've done this. This is what we are paying for, and this is what is remaining. You want to be very, very clear. And you can also validate the work too.
Yes, definitely. You have to validate the work. I mean, your builder will give you a bill, but don't just take it on face value. At least check to ensure that what you're paying for is actually what was done. So if the bill that he gave you says that I did 10 square meters of block wall, you may want to go and measure it with him. With him is important, just so that both of you are on the same page. So you have to validate the bills that you get.
And the whole issue of bills, I know that sometimes advance payments cause a little bit of conflict sometimes. What is your suggestion in how we deal with advance payment? Because I'm paying for what's not done as yet, so I can't validate it.
Well, usually, in most contracts, there is like a mobilization payment. I mean, the builders might ask you for some money up front to get going. You know?
Okay.
They might have the workers, some of them probably didn't have a job. I mean, especially in COVID now, sometimes people just sit down and they really have nothing to do, so they don't have no money for come and work, they don't have no money for buy lunch. So these costs is what some of the costs your builders will factor in when he's pricing that document. So he might ask you for like a mobilization money. You know, you may give him that up from 10-20%. I mean, if it's a labor only thing, I'd probably suggest 10, but you will give him that money up front. But what you have to do is you have to manage it, because you cannot keep giving advance payment. Because really and truly, our construction project runs, you are paid for work done. So you do the work, you get paid. And that's the arrangement that you should keep in mind.
So we don't want to always paying ahead of what's done.
Correct.
So we want to ensure that in case something go wrong or the contract is forfeited, whatever happens, we are not at a loss.
At a loss, correct.
Alright. So those were basically the 3 cost control tips that I think we need to consider if we want to build on a budget. 1, we have to ensure that we send out the quotation, we get quotations. 2, we want to ensure that we schedule the work based on the availability of funds. And 3, we want to ensure that we are monitoring as we go along to ensure that the cost and the scope are working hand in hand.
Correct.
Once we do that, we should be able to stick to our budget and get the task done.
Yes.
Alright,
so
that's it for today. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Don't forget to just subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell so that you get notified when we post a video. Share with us in the comments. We would like to hear from you.
Some other tips that we may not have considered.
Things you might want to add to the discussion. We're here for everybody, you know, and we're here sharing our experience, yes, but we are also giving you the opportunity to share your experience in the comment section below. And like the video, share the video with your friends, and thanks for watching again. See you next time. Bye.